a lot of people are not educated. And and I personally, and I tell people all the time, is my journey to get educated started right here.
Right.
And then from there you go and take what you learn and then you go further your education. But a lot of people are just simply not educated on something as simple as queer and what queer even stands for and means. Yeah.
What was that education process for you too? Because again, it comes on both sides. Because when I look at it and I'm like, you obviously firsthand getting educated daily, because you're growing daily. So what is that process like for you two? When I look, I've obviously, we talked about it. I've seen it.
Yeah.
But to hear from you two now here, in the space that's actually a little different from just like, oh, we're gonna talk about like our lives. This is a little different, which I love.
Right.
This is a little bit more barbershop talk in the sense where like let's be real with it. Like for you two, what was this? Like, what was the education process? Was there ever fear? Was it because obviously it was some ignorance there because you didn't know. There was some fear obviously because you wasn't sure. But then there has to still be a trust there, which I do appreciate. But what was like that process like for you two?
Well, I mean, I think I go first is, first of all, when it's someone who you don't know or you may not have, you don't love or you don't care to get to know, you just don't. But when it's someone you love and someone, you want to be in their lives, you're going to sit down and you're going to find out, like, you're going to actually sit down and find out these things that you don't know. If you don't care about them, you're going to move on.
Right.
But this is my child. This is, I'm in love with my kids. And so, my job is to sit down, like me and Zaya have always, like I go and sit across Zaya's bed, and we have a 2 to 4 hour conversation. And that's a lot of times where, we get to talk. And it's just a safe space. Right. We say whatever. I ask whatever, and Zaya laughs because I'm the one who I will ask a question that I will ask that question that you would think that you shouldn't have said that. But I don't know. And so I ask whatever, and Zaya has expressed whatever. And so we built that kind of that communication, that safe environment amongst the communication amongst each other, that I feel that allowed me to get comfortable with what I did not know, or what I did not experience. And a lot of it became just from just a straight communication that we have. And it's like, it ain't no way around it. It's straight at it. And Zaya is a straight shooter. If you want to have a conversation with her, she's going to hit you right between the eye. And so it runs in the family. You know what I mean? And so that, from my perspective as a father, that's how I went into the getting to know my child and getting to know the things I didn't know. Is like, yo, I'm just gonna come in your room, I'm gonna lay across the bed, and we're just gonna have conversations, and I'm gonna ask questions. Good. And she's gonna give me answers because like it's just us like throwing a ball in the backyard when we're young. This is no different. I'm getting to know you and you getting to know me. And so that's how I went into it.
The simple answer is I have no clue. After coming out, it was like a crazy experience because like I don't know either, right? Like I don't know everything, and I still don't know barely anything. So it was a very, very new experience for everyone involved, including me.
Yeah.
I think my biggest thing in terms of like educating, a thing that I feel like most queer people want to express to their family members is that does not change like the fundamental things about them. I think a lot of people assume like, oh my God, my child's going to be so different, blah, blah, blah. And only different in the ways that they're like liberated and free and not carrying weights, not different, like completely different personalities, which is just because like, I'm trans. Like that's not me. And I think that a part of us learning about the trans experience is also me just getting more comfortable with you and talking to you about things. Cause I mean, okay. Chicago, African-American man. We talk about a lot of stuff. not to stereotype, but not often do you have a full-blown conversation with a Black man. So it's hard. And there's a bit of like almost like a cultural barrier sometimes to talk to Black people about that kind of stuff, especially queer stuff. Man, they do not be liking us. Shout out to the Black community though, like reciprocate. But no, I think it was hard to break through like my stereotype of you even. I think people think it's like you trying to understand what being trans is like, but it was like me trying to understand what you were like, because I have this image of mainly just men in general, but especially a Black man, is like, stuck in their ways and like rigid in those things that they don't want to like move past. And so I think I had to understand that that's just not true and let you in to understand me. And so like when you talk about conversations, like it reminds me like, our road trips, like when we just go on like little drives like around town and end up, just talking about super like deep stuff. It's like those moments for me are the best ways that I think I can communicate myself. It's not like I'm going to sit him down with like a PowerPoint presentation and be like, so this is like, no, that doesn't make any sense. That's not me. Because I don't know everything. So I can't present everything to you, but I'm learning, and I'm also learning how to communicate those things. And so sometimes it kind of has to be like natural and in a conversation. It can't just be like, found out a new thing. Like, here it is. Like, And so, yeah, I think that was a big part of a learning curve for the two of us, is just our like more active, like daddy-daughter moments and, our like little dates and like whenever we go out and eat and this kind of stuff. Like those moments are where I feel like I can express myself the best and convey the most important thing to me about being trans is that it's not this like super duper personality, like changing, like I'm a completely different human being. I mean, there are a lot of differences about me, but I mean, this is happening during like formative years, right? I'm like 12, 13, 14. So obviously I'm going to be different just if I was trans or if I wasn't trans. People are changing all the time in teen years. So I don't think that really can be attributed to the trans part, but just as it stands, like I didn't just flip like 180 and was like, woof, now you got a whole new kid to think about. Like, no, I mean, there's a lot of new things to consider, but I think my biggest fear was feeling foreign in the family because people thought I was different. And I mean, I was a little bit, and definitely different than others because obviously this is new pretty much for the entire family. But yeah, I think that was the biggest thing. I think people ask me a lot, like in interviews and stuff and like whatever, like, oh, education is such a big part of like, being trans and like teaching people. And it's like, yeah, depending on what you want to teach. I think it depends. You have done so much of your own research. Like you said, you love to ask those awkward questions. But if anything, I need that because I'll never give an awkward answer unless you prompt it.
Yeah.
So thank you, by the way, because we would not have talked about at least 80% of what we do if you didn't bring it up. Because I just,
yeah.
Especially because I'm a teenager. We don't talk about that kind of stuff.
First of all, that's any kid.
That's true, right?
Yeah, like which kid is bringing up those awkward topics?
To their parents,
Yeah.
anything is awkward, they're not bringing it up.
Right.
So if you're not bringing it up, it's not gonna. You're never gonna know.
Yeah.
And I always told Zaya, I was like, and we have to be this have to be the most honest relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, even when we had our moments where, I only had a few times where I had to get on Zaya's ass. Zaya's been a great kid. A couple times I had to get on Zaya.
So you had to get on her ass.
No, a few times, but way less than other kids. But in one of our moments, remember me telling you, I was like, we have to just be completely honest with each other. You and I we're never guessing. We're never lying to each other. And so I think even from there, I think we grew so much in our relationship from that conversation because we had to lead with honesty.
Right.
It's a lot about me that you don't know, and it's a lot about you I don't know, and we trying to do this. And I'm here. I'm the one. I'm gonna protect you to the end. But I need to know that everything you're telling me is 100% truthful, and you know what I mean, and so forth and so on. And so once we got past that, it's been open.
We're doing pretty good, aren't we?
We're doing pretty good.